it would behoove you well to know what's in the book, because you're going to be judged by this book. Right? So we've already talked about, so God already knew what was going to happen before He laid the foundation of the earth. Right? He already knew Jesus had to die. So He already had a plan to create man who would be the habitation of God. Right? Tells us in the New Testament, know ye not that you're the temple of God? That your bodies are the temple of God? Know ye not that? Don't you understand that your bodies are now the temple of God? And you'll be the temple of God forever is God's plan for you. Right? It says also in Corinthians that if you don't know that Jesus Christ dwells in you, your faith is reprobate, useless, garbage. Right? He tells us these things. So He made man for the purpose of God dwelling within him, or God dwelling within man. Adam blew it. Jesus came back to make a way through the death and confusion of the devil. So God had a plan called the redemption of man. But the real target wasn't man. It tells us in John that He came to destroy, for this purpose the Son of Man was manifested, that He might destroy the works of the devil. Now we tell people many times, and this is absolutely true, that if no one had lived on the earth but you, Jesus would have died for you. That's absolutely true. But the target wasn't man. The target was the devil. Okay? So we see an eternal struggle and plan that's going on here, where the devil is trying to kill the seed. Because if he can get rid of the seed, he doesn't have to worry about somebody crushing his head. So here's the history of what happened in a regular basis. Men would sin. God would send a messenger to stop them sinning, to turn to Him, and they would ignore Him, and the consequences would come. Okay, that's the short version of the history of Israel, right? God always sent messengers, they killed them. They killed them, they killed them, they killed them. It's amazing to me that Elihu didn't get killed by one of the three guys when he came to talk to Job, because God has always sent messengers to him. But notice He sends human beings. We don't see any evidence of angels coming. We see men coming. Okay? Because God has given this earth to man, and He treats man as if man's still in charge of the earth. So God's limitation is man. It talks about in Psalm 107 about the people of Israel when they were in the desert for 40 years, they limited God. God was ready. He was going to take them across, take Moses, come out through the Red Sea, go through a short, I think it's an 8 or 15-day journey at the most, go right across the Jordan River and take the land promised, right? 40 years around the mountain, right? They limited God. God was ready. God is not our problem. The devil will sit there, and one of the titles of the devil is the accuser of the brethren, right? So guess who my brother is? Guess who my brother is? Jesus. He's my brother, right? Is He not my elder brother? So what's the devil going to spend time doing accusing to me? Right? He's going to accuse Jesus to me, right? He's going to accuse Him all the time. Jesus should have done this. Jesus should have done that. Look what Jesus did here. Look what Jesus did there. He's going to accuse me. All the time accuse Him. He tries to accuse you of God. Look what God did here. Look what God did there. It's all God's fault. Okay? Jesus came to set the record straight. This is how God really is. If you're blind on the side of a road, Jesus didn't pass you by. Right? He didn't pass him by. Let's take a look for a minute at John chapter 5. I got to tell you, this is fun. The Lord's been dealing with me a lot of scriptures all week long. And I'm going, wow, Lord, this is really cool. I really consider it a privilege to be able to start off my discussion tonight, we were chatting earlier, to protect the reputation of God. That was the first thing going on. Look at what He did at Sodom and Gomorrah. You notice it doesn't even tell you who the angels were from. They were from God.
In Sodom and Gomorrah, He sent two angels disguised as men. He said He never sends angels. I don't know, it's a distinction.
He never sends angels to give the message of deliverance. Okay? They sent the angels to pull Lot out of there. But they didn't say turn or burn. We came to destroy. Big difference. Now guess whose job was to tell people of Sodom and Gomorrah? That was Lot's job. He was there, right? You think Lot heard the mission? He's in the category of Job. God tried to wake you up, but you didn't wake up, right?
And people laughed at Lot because he had no reputation for prophecy.
Okay. I'm in John, Gospel of John, chapter 5, verse 1. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, we understand this feast was probably Passover. Now, there was at Jerusalem by a sheep market a pool, which is called the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. And there these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. Now, here's this. God is sending a place where miracles can happen, at the pool of Bethesda. Right? When the water moves, if you're the first one in, you get healed. Right? So who controlled the timing of your healing? God or the guy laying next to the water? The guy, whoever was laying next to the water. Right? If you didn't make it in in time, you didn't get healed. If you made it in time, you got healed. Who controlled that? You or God? The person controlled it, right? You controlled when you get healed. Right? Did it matter what you were sick of? Didn't matter. Had nothing to do with what you were sick of. It was, you saw the water move, you jumped in the water. This pretty well typifies the church today. Somebody hears about a move of God someplace, they go try to jump in the water and get some of that healing that's going on there. Running around, we got now chains will tell you when God's moving someplace. There's a revival going here, and they'll put all over the Christian internet, and all people run down there to see what's happening. Okay? That's pretty much how we are today. We're looking for where the water's troubled. We're going to go jump in and get some. Not saying that's right or wrong, but who controls whether you get some? God's troubles the water. You're the one who has to make it to the water, right? Does it matter what you're sick of? Right? I just destroyed about 97 different theories on healing right there. Right? All this other stuff about healing doesn't matter. Who controls when you get healed? Right? Who wants to heal you? Right? Who sent His Son to die for you? Who wants to get you healed yesterday? God. Get the message straight. Right? So in the pool of Bethesda, now look at this. You ever heard the scripture, God helps those who help themselves? Right? You ever heard that statement? Okay. For an angel went down to a certain season into the pool and troubled the water, whereof was first after the troubling of the water stepped in, was made whole of whatever disease he had. Right? So disease means anything that causes you a lack of ease. And a certain man was there which had infirmity 38 years. So he'd been there, 38 years had been there. Well, at least he had the infirmity 38 years. And when Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? Right? He's asking, you want to get whole? What's the guy say back to him? Well, I can't. It's not the right time. It's not the right season. I'm not prayed up. I don't have my neighbor to do this for me. Right? He says, the impotent man answered, Sir, I have no man, when the water is troubled, to put me in the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Right? He's given all the excuses why he can't get healed. Right? He's giving all the excuses why he can't get healed. What is Jesus' answer to his excuse? Okay? Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. Case closed. Right? What was Jesus' answer to the excuses that he had? Tilt, don't count. Right? There are no excuses. Isn't that good? There aren't any excuses why you're not healed. God says, if you can't help yourself, I'll come help you. You see this same story of this guy right here? It looks like Adam, doesn't he? Adam sinned, in trouble, God came in to help him. Jesus found the guy who couldn't help himself first. Now we don't know whether he cleaned out the whole place or not. Doesn't say. Right? We don't know whether he healed any more in there or just did it. But it said what it does say is that immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked, and on the same day was the Sabbath. And the Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, It is the Sabbath day. Is it lawful for thee to carry the bed? Man, I've been carrying that bed. Woo! He says, Jesus told me to carry it. I'm carrying it. You can't get it off my arms, right? I'm walking to carry this thing. He answered to them, He that made me whole, the same said unto me, Take up thy bed and walk. Then asked